Every summer, we have middle school and high school mission trips where youth and adult volunteers go and serve as the body of Christ in the world. This year, our middle schoolers went to Charleston, South Carolina for Estoy Loco, where they work together to serve food, do yard work, paint, and more. Our high schoolers went to Atlanta, Georgia to serve through M25, a ministry that partners with local organizations to help people experiencing homelessness. Even though these were two different trips, both shared a common theme. Overall, what impacted participants the most were the people they met and the relationships that were built as they shared the love of God together.
I think Estoy Loco was important because we got to see how other people need help, and it was good to help other people and not just think about what we want.
I like that we get to share the gospel with other people. What I mean by sharing the gospel is finding people that don't believe and then sharing the great news that Jesus died on the cross and he resurrected. So there was this one lady and her son. Her name was Miss Mary, his name was Angelo. And when we first met them, they were a little like, can you hurry up and get everything done and then leave? But then Mr. E, he talked to her and she came to church the next day, and she said that she had never felt at home with anybody else besides us. And that was really touched us a lot.
When we were helping the lady, we took breaks to talk to her, and even though she was going through really tough situations, that she still was able to have faith in God.
I saw God in the fact of I had the opportunity to drive home Miss Mary and her son from church, but as we were walking out to the car, she had said how awesome the team was that was working at her house over the weekend. She had said how wonderful everybody was and that she had gone to other churches before and just hadn't really felt welcomed. And she just really felt like, she would want to start going to this or join the church. And so I said, you know what, did you get a chance to meet the pastor? And she's like, no. So we turned around, we went back into the church. And just to be able to lead her to a church home and, her actually seeing God work in ways from the youth, her son. It was an awesome experience.
The first night, Friday night, we were there, and the youth were preparing food and serving it from a food truck at a local park. And so we, as everyone was eating, we would go and sit with people, and I went and sat down with these two ladies, and within a minute, the one lady asked if she could pray over us. She said a very powerful prayer over us, and it was really neat. So, a lot of times you go on these trips wanting to help others and help try to be a blessing to them, but then they end up being a blessing to you. So,
in our life groups, we all made a promise with each other. We would all do something to represent our church and show others that God was with us so he can be with everyone else. I felt like Estoy Loco would have been the perfect time.
Yeah, not a lot of people want to be with teens in the summer, but just being able to open up their eyes to different ways to serve God and, how you can actually lead people to God and what does that look like and how does that look, and just being able to be alongside of them and kind of see things in their perspective is just pretty awesome.
I got to see different lifestyles of people and how other people can't do some things and how they need help in their lives.
I saw through the kids that God had blessed them, even though they were homeless or they were poor. They always had so much enthusiasm and so thankful for everything. And they wanted to come over and they wanted to play with us, and that was awesome. All people might not have everything, but they only need just a little to gain happiness.
So at M25, what we did was went to various homeless ministries, such as Seven Bridges, Gateway, Safe House, those kind of things, and just did multiple tasks, such as bringing food to people in kind of low-cost areas, and just really try to be a helping presence down there for a week, and just try to make them know that they're loved and people in the world care for them still.
This one guy asked me to pray for him, and so we were all just kind of listening to him, and I asked who he wanted us to pray for, and he said my children. He didn't say him, he said his family. He also asked me to pray for our group, which was also something that I never really thought people would do because we were there to help them, but he wanted us to be safe too while we were there, so I thought that was really cool.
The people that we were working with had nothing, but they had a much stronger faith than many of us. And when we were giving out lunches, a lot of the people we met, they were more excited to have someone to talk to and pray with than they were to like receive lunch or clothes or anything.
You really get to see for the first time just a different side of life than what you've had, and just you want to try and make these people feel just kind of that they're not alone, because you see stuff like this and it's really a culture shock, and you just want to be able to do something.
I think this trip brought me closer to God because it opened my eyes as to like everybody is kind of the same, and like while there's stereotypes and like you think certain things about certain people, that's not always the case. I mean, I think I'll definitely notice. I mean, before I noticed homeless people, but I never really wanted to like go up and like talk to them. But now I think, like I said before, it's more of like I realize that these are people and like they're just like us, so it's easier for me to talk to them, and like if I see someone now, I might go up and talk to them, whereas I wouldn't before.
I thought the same as everyone else, pretty much, the stereotypes with drugs and how they're bad people, but you realize that even with that, most of that happens because they became homeless. They go into that lifestyle, and so it really shows you that they didn't want this, but it's what happened, and now they're still loving God even through this stuff.
I think it really strengthened my relationship. It showed me so much that I never really knew before. Going in, not to say like I judged people that were homeless, but you always kind of have ideas in the back of your head of like judgments that you think about people. And having the conversations I did while we were there, it completely changed my mind about people who are homeless, and that they're just people like us, and that the struggles they go through are real, and that we go through struggles too. And it just showed me that we can connect with people that we wouldn't think we would. And God showed me that there's opportunities to love everywhere.